This segment is sponsored by WAEPA. The evolution of underwriting and financial services is shaping a more equitable and inclusive future.
We're here to shed some light on how people can navigate their own financial journeys while understanding the importance of fairness and inclusivity in today's economy. We have Shane Canfield, who is the CEO of the Worldwide Assurance for Employees of Public Agencies, also known as WAEPA, a nonprofit that has served current and former federal civilian workers for 80 years. Shane, great to have you here on Great Day.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. And you got the acronym and the whole long thing, which is why we use it.
Yeah.
WAEPA.
Yeah. Everyone knows WAEPA, right? Let's talk about underwriting. We mentioned at the beginning, it has a long history. How did this start?
It's a necessary part of not just insurance, but also financial services. You have to understand what's coming down the road in terms of risk. In our case, we're a nonprofit benefits trust. We've got over 50,000 federal employees in the plan. And we need to make sure that when somebody joins the plan and gets insurance, that 20, 30, 40 years from now, we can make those commitments. And so the way we do that is a process of underwriting.
Yeah.
So when we have advancements in technology and data, how has that helped the industry become more equitable today?
Yeah, that gets to, I was thinking about this on the way in. So in the 1980s and 90s was the evolution of data, big data. And there was a lot of information out there. And so some insurance companies were going out and collecting just as much information as they could. And that invariably wound its way into the underwriting process. But what they weren't doing is thinking about, is this really information which is necessary to understand that risk to make those long-term payments? And so you were seeing things like gender, zip codes, income.
Right.
In our case, life insurance, none of those, that has nothing to do, right? And so I would like to say it was good intentions, but the advent of big data without being careful about how you used it, I think it introduced bias.
Yeah. Is that how the biases have played a role in this environment? When you're doing the underwriting, you're projecting longevity and what you can offer in those services. Okay, what are some of the broader implications of making financial services more inclusive for everybody?
Right. I don't think it's so much on the consumer level. I think it's incumbent upon people like us in the business to do that side of it. And we do that, like, for example, underwriting. When somebody applies for insurance now with us, we have carefully selected the bare minimum of questions that we ask and that we use in underwriting to relate to somebody's longevity. So we look at medical records, we look at prescription database and driving records. That's it. We don't care about zip code, income, none of that.
Wow.
It doesn't matter at all because it's not directly tied to our business. And so we do that very carefully and deliberately, while at the same time making sure that we ask the questions which help us to determine what we're going to need in the future, because that's also part of our duty.
Yeah.
Right? We have to be there for those people in the future.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I love that evolution of getting what you need, getting rid of the bias, but because your main focus is serving your clients years down the road and making sure they're comfortable and feel safe about what they've chosen as well.
Right, right. And we are totally transparent at all times. So the three things I just mentioned, we moved, COVID pushed us to be better, faster, quicker. And so the old way of underwriting was not pleasant for anybody. And so now we do it all online. People can get a real-time quote within 10 minutes. How do we do that? We go out to those sources of data I mentioned, and we do that carefully and deliberately. The transparency piece is we tell people we're going to do this, and people are normally fine with that as long as you tell them what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a really good process, and we're using data carefully.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's great how
Great
you have
information.
evolved over the years. I know 80
with the
years.
times as well.
There are so many articles, checklists, other resources that can help you kickstart your financial wellness journey. You can go check all of it out by going to WAEPA.org.